Good evening and welcome to our Thursday night Hatha Vinyasa flow. Tonight we are focusing on a mudra or inspired by a mudra called the gesture of the upper body. And we will also be influenced by the fact that just 3 days ago we got our full moon, and this is the practice that I like to do moon salutations in. So this will be kind of a level 1-2 flow. Expect some poses to be held a long time, and expect perhaps your heart rate to get up there. So this is a little bit more vigorous than my gentle morning flow on Wednesdays, and it's been kind of a mellow week anyway because we've been focusing a lot on the breath as we focus on expanding our upper body in the breath and increasing our vitality and our connection to our 5 senses. So join me on the pillow. Steve is already there. Hello, Steve. So I encourage, when you start off any routine, any practice, but before your body is warmed up, it's always nice to start off on top of a bolster or a pillow. This is a beautiful pillow that a friend made for me when we graduated from yoga school together. And I start off all of my practices on it. It's nice to lift up the hips. And when we lift up the hips, it creates space for them to begin to naturally open. And then it allows us to lift up our heart, draw the crown of our head up to the ceiling, and just be comfortable enough that now we can have a nice open energy channel up and down the body from the root of the spine, the root chakra, all the way to the top of the head, the crown chakra. So take a nice inhale and an exhale. Inhale through your nostrils, rise your shoulders up to your ears, and then exhale, draw them back down, drawing your shoulders back over your hips, drawing the back of your head in alignment with the back body. And just begin to breathe in and out of your nose, turning your attention towards your third eye, turning inward. So tonight we will have some chest openers that stimulate the throat chakra, stimulate the functioning of our thyroid. But also, because we are focusing on the upper body, that brings into play all of our metaphysical chakras, our throat chakra, our third eye chakra, and our crown chakra. And as you breathe in and out, begin to focus on the sensations you may be experiencing. Tuning into your 5 senses, ask yourself perhaps what you are feeling through touch, what you are feeling through taste. I have some cinnamon mints in my mouth right now. What you may be feeling through or experiencing through smell. What you may be hearing. And what you may be seeing. Take this time as you are getting into your breath to establish an intention. Establish an intention to be very present in the moment and to become in tune with everything that you feel. And while being in tune with everything that you feel, there's no need for judgment. There is just an indication in that we are alive and we are present. And in that life and in that presence, we have vitality. So I urge you to embrace your vitality in this moment. So the gesture that we are going to take, it's one that I have a hard time pronouncing, but it's a neat gesture. It's called the Jayastha Sharira Mudra. So I'm going to put it forward. You probably will not see it, but at the end, I can bring the card up before I turn off the video. This is called the gesture of the upper body. And the core quality of it is upper body breathing. So we've been focusing these last 3 weeks on the quality of the breath. So the first week, we did the gesture of the lower body, where we focused on drawing the breath down deep into the lungs and really focused on deepening the breath. And then when we did the gesture of the middle body, we focused on expanding the chest, expanding the ribs, and really drawing the breath into our back body, expanding the ribs in the back of the body. With this gesture, we are focusing on everything above the heart. But in order to do that, you have to expand your upper ribs. So what we did last week was we placed our hands on our lower ribs and we felt the expansion of the lower ribs. And you can probably see that on your end. This week, I urge you to bring your hands up higher. So alongside, kind of right underneath your armpits. And as you inhale, expand your upper ribs. And you may not feel as much movement, but draw your attention towards your chest and drawing your breath into the upper chest. And one of the things that I immediately noticed about the quality of this breath is that rather than it having that effect that a lot of breathing techniques have of bringing your nervous system down and helping you to bring your energy down and grounding your energy, this actually helps stimulate. It serves as a nice 3 p.m. pick-me-up instead of a cup of coffee. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my sweatshirt now. I'm starting to breathe and get a little bit warm. So that'll be good to have that off. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you by turning around what this mudra looks like from behind. So drawing your hands up and alongside your elbows, up and alongside your ears, you bend your elbows and you place your hands adjacent to each other, fingers pointed down, and draw your elbows up, draw your back, your shoulders down onto your back. And while you have your hands in this position for 1 minute, let's breathe and direct our breath into our upper ribs. Let's go ahead and start. You just breathe normally, but direct your breath into your upper ribs. Final breath, inhale. And then exhale, release your hands down to your thighs. Take a moment to just observe, what does it feel like approaching breathing in this way? One thing that we often find with the breath is that when we just take a minute to breathe, with purpose, with intention, with fullness, that we really open up the structures of our lungs and really can draw breath in with ease. Now let's draw our hands overhead again, but we won't bend them this time. We'll place our elbows alongside of our ears, and then we'll do another minute of breathing like this. Continue to draw the shoulders down. One more breath. And then exhale, drop your hands. Allow the blood to kind of flow back into your arms. Go ahead and inhale your shoulders up to your ears. Exhale, draw them back and down. And just experience that sensation. Now is a good time to observe what your senses are drawing in from your environment. So ideally, this mudra, if you want to increase your experience with it, is to take it for 5 minutes at a time. But as you may have observed, that to have your arms overhead, your arms overhead for a long time is a little challenging if you're not used to it. But like I said, it's a very nice pick-me-up in the mid-afternoon when you're feeling kind of an energetic low. It's also a really nice pose for beginning to strengthen the shoulders, the top of the shoulders and the shoulder girdle. And it really helps us to draw those shoulder blades down and really train our back to stay in this nice, beautiful posture. Let's go ahead and remove this pillow if you're sitting on one. And we're going to take some cow cats as we begin to warm up the spine. So I would like you to have your hands stacked beautifully underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, and on your inhale, draw your heart center up as you drop the belly and lift up your sits bones. On your exhale, draw your belly button to the spine as you curl your spine up towards the ceiling, dropping your crown of your head. Inhale, draw up the heart, lifting up the sits bones. Exhaling into cat by drawing our back up to the ceiling. Inhaling, drawing the heart center up as we lift up our sits bones. And then exhale, curling your back towards the ceiling. Inhale, lifting up the heart, drawing the shoulders away from the ears and down the back. And then exhale, reverse that by drawing your back up to the ceiling. One final cow, lifting up the heart, the sits bones. And then exhale, returning to neutral. On your inhale, I want you to look over your right shoulder, curling to the right, creating a letter C with your body to the right. Exhale forward. And then on your next inhale, curl to the left, creating a letter C as your body is going to the left. So the mirror image. Take another inhale. Exhale to the neutral forward position. We're going to go into sunbird pose by lifting up our left heel, lifting up our right arm, straightening our left leg strong behind us, straightening our right arm strong in front of us, lifting up the heel to hip height. You can go lower if you, or higher if you choose, but keep your hips neutral. So your left hip bone is facing the floor, not opening up that hip. So dropping that left hip as you lift up that left leg, drawing your right hand forward as you keep your belly button drawn into the spine, reaching as far forward as you can and your heel as far back as you can. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, dropping that right hand and that left knee, lifting up your right knee, or I'm sorry, your right heel, reaching your left hand forward. Again, drawing the belly button up against the spine as you reach your left hand as far forward as you can, tilting your right hip bone towards the floor to keep your hips neutral, and lifting up the whole back of your right leg, leading with the heel. Take a nice inhale, and then on your exhale, drop your left hand, drop your right knee, inhale into cow, exhaling into cat. One more inhale into cow, and then exhaling into cat. Returning to neutral. We're going to go back into sunbird, and then we're going to grab our foot from behind and go into a small back bend. Inhale your left leg up and your right hand forward. Exhale, reach around, grab your right ankle, and then start to kick your ankle into your hand as you lift up your heart center. Take one more inhale. Exhale, release that with control, dropping your right hand and your left knee. Inhale, take up your right heel and your left hand. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, reach around and grab your right ankle. And then begin to kick your right ankle into your left hand. Inhale and exhale 3 times. Final inhale, exhale, releasing with control. Drop your left hand and your right knee. Inhale into that cow. Exhaling into cat. Inhale into cow. Exhale, returning to our neutral spine. Tucking our toes, we sit back on our heels to initially just stretch out our feet. The feet need the love the same way all of our other parts of the body need the love. And at the end of our routine today, perhaps we'll also take hero pose to bring more fluid into the knee joints. But for now, we're just going to stretch out the feet. Take a nice inhale. And then on your exhale, go ahead and lift up onto your knees and rise up into your standing position and move to one side of your mat because we're going to go into our sun salutation. And every time I do sun salutes, I have to remind myself how to do them. I don't do them very often. So inhale our hands up. Exhale to the right, or to the left rather. Inhale, rise up. Exhale to your right. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, open up into goddess pose. In goddess pose, draw your knees backwards towards your toes. Your feet are at about a 45-degree angle, or however wide your hips like to open up. Drawing your shoulders back and down, stacking your shoulders beautifully over your hips, and taking these beautiful arms with our hands tilted towards the ceiling. Take a nice inhale. On your exhale, rise up into star, and then organize your feet to move into your first triangle pose, turning your left foot towards the back of your mat, your right foot parallel with the top of the mat. Take a nice inhale, and then on your exhale, drop down into triangle pose. Draw your right shoulder back, pressing your back against that imaginary wall behind you. Take a nice inhale. On your exhale, drop your right hand, bend your knee, and go into a lunge. And I have to remind myself exactly how to do this. I apologize. We're going to go into Skandasana after this, I think. Take a nice inhale. And then exhale. And then go ahead and move into Skandasana on the left-hand side. Bring your right foot in as we move into Malasana, Garland pose, or yogi squat. Take a nice inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. And then on your exhale, go ahead and move into Skandasana on the right-hand side. And then on your exhale, turn, go into lunge. On the right-hand side, high lunge. Take a nice inhale. And then on your exhale, organize your feet so that you can go into triangle facing your right. So your right leg is outstretched, toes pointing towards the top of the mat, left leg parallel to the back of the mat. Rise up your left hand, drawing your left shoulder back. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, rise up into star. Exhale, lower into goddess. Take a nice inhale. And then on your exhale, move to the left into prayer pose. Take your hands overhead. Exhale, half moon to the right. Tilting to the right. Inhale up. And then exhale, half moon to the left. And then rise up. Exhale, circle your hands down into prayer pose. It's such a different way to approach a flow. You know, sun salutations are completely different than moon salutations. Moon salutations are designed to open up the heart, but also to prepare us for the night. I only do them in honor of the new moon because this is my Vinyasa flow. We're supposed to have our energy up. But you know what? It's perfect timing because we're focusing on the upper body. We're focusing on intuition. We're focusing on balancing the thyroid. We're focusing on increasing our sensory awareness and our vitality. So honestly, I think it's really great that we're doing moon salutations tonight. So let's inhale our hands up again. Inhale, chaturanga to the left. Sorry, not chaturanga. Half moon. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, half moon to the right. Chandrasana was the word I was looking for. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, open up into goddess. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, draw your shoulders down. Take another inhale. Exhale, rise up into star. And then keep your right toes pointed towards the top of the mat, left foot parallel with the back of the mat as we set up for triangle pose. Take a nice inhale. And then on the exhale, drop into your triangle. Draw your left shoulder back. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, drop your left hand down as you bend your front knee going into that lunge. Take a nice inhale. Exhale. On your inhale, move into Skandasana, keeping your right leg bent. Crouch on that right side and lift up your toes, opening up the whole front of your left thigh. Take a nice inhale. Take a nice exhale. Moving into Malasana, garland pose, yogi squat. Take a nice inhale. And take a nice exhale. Moving into Malasana on the left side. Crouch on the left. Point your right toes up, opening up the whole inside of your right thigh. Take a nice inhale. And exhale. On your inhale, turn to your left, going into your lunge. Take a nice inhale, lifting up the heart. And then on your exhale, let's start to move into that triangle pose. Rising up in your triangle. Exhale. Inhale, rise up into star. Exhale, drop into goddess. Take a nice inhale. And then on your exhale, moving to your right, feet together, hands at prayer. Inhale your hands overhead. Exhale in Ardha Chandrasana to the left. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, Ardha Chandrasana to the right. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bring your hands down and circle them up to the heart. Let's do that one more time. Take a nice inhale. Exhale your hands down. Inhale your hands up. Exhale, Ardha Chandrasana to the right. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, Ardha Chandrasana to the left. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, opening up into goddess pose, moving your left leg to the left. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, drawing those shoulders down, moving your shoulders over your hips. Take a nice inhale. Exhale one more time, and then inhale, rise up into star. Exhale, organizing your feet to set up for triangle, moving to the left. Go ahead and descend down into that triangle. Draw your left shoulder back. Take a nice inhale. And then exhale, drop your right hand down towards your foot, moving into lunge. I'm moving back to the middle of my mat. I realized I was gravitating. Take a nice inhale. On your exhale, move into Skandasana with your left leg crouched. Take a nice inhale. Exhale. Inhale, moving into Malasana or garland pose or yogi squat. Take a nice inhale. And a beautiful exhale. Moving into Skandasana with your right leg crouched. Take a nice inhale. And an exhale. And then turn to your right as you go into a lunge on your inhale. Exhale, move back into triangle pose. Take a nice inhale. Exhale. Inhale, rising up into star. So organize your feet. moving back to the center of my mat. Take a nice inhale, lifting up and out of the hips. And then on your exhale, drop down into goddess pose. One side always looks a little different to me on my body. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, moving to the right. Hands to prayer as we stand with feet together. Inhale, our hands overhead. Exhale to the left in Ardha Chandrasana. Inhale, rise up. Exhale to the right in Ardha Chandrasana. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, circle our hands down and bring our hands to heart center. Take a moment to observe, how do you feel? This is not the type of flow that gets you out of breath. It's not vigorous when we do these moon salutations. They really help us to open up our heart center and really get in touch with our breath and our upper body, metaphysical chakras. Let's go ahead and drop down to set up for Camel. So you'll start off standing on your knees. I'm going to turn to the side. So there are different variations you can choose for Camel. Initially, I'm going to start you off with some blocks. So if you have a set of blocks, that would be very lovely. You can use the blocks actually in your hands as like extras for the hands, because eventually you're going to place them on the floor and use them for support. So initially start off with your knees on the floor, your toes tucked, your heels up. If you find it is hard for your knees to be on the floor like this, you're welcome to use a folded blanket or a towel, or even one of those little knee cushions from the garden to cushion your knees. Inhale, lifting up your heart center. Just initially, allow your heart center to lift up, allow your hands to be down, and just focus on lifting up and out of the pelvis as you lift up your heart center. This will create a natural back bend without having to bend the back intentionally. Take another nice inhale. Exhale. On your next inhale, lift up your heart even further. And then on your exhale, find a place for your blocks behind you. You can turn your hands backwards if that's easier. You can turn them frontwards, whatever works for you, but use your blocks for support. Inhale, lift up your heart center. Continue to lift it and draw your shoulders away from your ears and down your back. If you want, you can then drop your head back and expose your throat. Take one more inhale. On your exhale, draw in your belly button, tuck your chin to your chest, and rise up. We will take a counter pose, child's pose. Place your blocks off to the side. Spread your knees and walk your hands forward. Take a beautiful inhale. Exhale, rise up, walk your hands back, bringing our legs back together, rising up on our knees. So the next variation that I'm going to show you is again with your heels tucked, but we're going to use our heels for the support instead of blocks. If you want to continue to use the blocks, please feel free. Inhale your hands up. Exhale, circle your hands down and reach for your heels. Lift up the heart on your inhale and continue to lift up and out of your pelvis. And when you feel you have the extension, you can begin to move your hips forward. You can drop your head back and open up your throat. Take one more inhale. And then on your exhale, tuck your chin, draw your belly button in. As you lift up, sit back down on your heels and move back into child's pose. In child's pose, give your belly plenty of room to expand, to deepen your breath. Reach your hands as far forward as you can. One more beautiful inhale. Exhale, walking your hands back. Bringing your knees back together. Rise up again on your knees. A third variation I will show you is leaving your tops of your feet flat on the floor and not tucking your toes and lifting up your heels. But if you would like to continue with one of those other two variations, feel free. Inhale your hands up. And then on your exhale, circle your hands down, lifting up your heart center, reach back for your heels. Continue to lift your heart center up, lifting up and out of the pelvis as you begin to move the hips forward. Gradually dropping your head back if that feels good. Take one more inhale. And then on your exhale, draw your chin to your chest, draw your belly button in, rise up, sit back on your heels, widen your knees as you keep your toes together, and walk your hands forward in child's pose. Take one more deep inhale. And on your exhale, lift up slightly. Take your right hand and thread it underneath your left hand. Going for a little bit of a spinal twist here. A little bit of a stretch at the back of our right shoulder. Take one more inhale. Bringing your right hand forward. Exhale, bring your left hand underneath your right arm and lay across the outside of your left shoulder. Twisting to your right. Continuing to breathe deeply and evenly. Perhaps you've taken the Ujjayi breath, where you slightly constrict your throat, creating a little H sound on the back of your throat with your mouth closed. Take one more inhale and rise up. And walk your hands back on your exhale. Isn't that nice? Let's work our way into plow pose. So scooting up to the center of the mat because we need room. So moving our feet towards the top of the mat. I realize it's sort of silly looking that I keep talking about the top or the bottom of the mat, which would be your short sides, because I have a round mat. But I love my round mat. And frankly, for those of you who are contemplating building your own home practice, I really advise that you really pay attention to the kind of mat that you want. There are lots of amazing cool mats on the market now. So this is just basic mat material. It's just a rubber mat that's a little bit cushy. It's not a super thin mat, but it's not a really thick one. It has that waffle cone look on it. But it allows me the freedom to show you all these ways to do poses and change my positions all around the mat. You can go with a traditional mat. You can get extra long mats. You can get rectangular mats that are extra wide, that are like a big beach towel. So you have all kinds of options, and I urge you to pick one that's really going to make your practice enjoyable for you. So sitting up nice and tall in staff pose, take your hands and press them down on the floor. Draw your shoulders back and down. Draw your belly buttons in. Lift up your heart center and look forward. There is an awful lot happening in this pose, and it's a wonderful pose for reminding us that we are to move into the back body, to strengthen our core, to strengthen the muscles of our back, to strengthen our shoulders. This strengthens the entire spine. You can feel it in the lower spine, You can also feel it in the legs because your legs have to be strong to hold you in this perfect letter L shape. Take one more inhale. And then let's move into some boat poses, Navasana. Bend your legs, have your feet on the floor initially, hands out in front. Draw your shoulders backwards, drawing your arm bones into your shoulder socket. Take a nice inhale, rising the crown of your head up. And then on your exhale, keep your heart lifted as you lean back. Drawing your shoulders back, parallel to the floor. And just hold this for 3 breaths. Draw the belly button into the spine. Take one more inhale. On your exhale, lift up. Fold over your legs. Take a little breather. Inhale, rise up. Hands parallel to the floor. Let's move back into Navasana, this time lifting our legs off the floor and allowing our shins to be parallel to the floor. Inhale. On your exhale, lean back, lift up your legs. Legs are parallel to the floor. Draw your shoulder blades back. Keep your belly button close to the spine. And breathe. One more breath. Exhale, drop your feet, lay over your legs, stretch out your back just slightly. Inhale, rise up, hands parallel to the mat again, leaning back. If you want to join me, I'm going to take full Navasana. Legs straight, toes pointed up. Take one more breath. Exhale, drop your legs, fold over your legs. Let's move into Lord of the Fish. So take our hands behind our back. You might choose to move your hips a little bit forward, bend your elbows, and lay them on the mat. So initially, this is how we start off. Straighten out your legs, sliding them down the mat, and allow your shoulders to draw back and down, lifting up your heart center as you drop the crown of your head back. You can remain in this version of fish, but if you want to join me, I'm going to take the full Lord of the Fish version by lifting up my legs into Navasana shape. Take one more breath. Exhale, lower your legs with control if they were lifted. I know my voice sounds funny because it's all constricted. And then go ahead and lay down on the mat. Lift up off of your hands. And very briefly, just lay flat on the mat. We're not ready for Shavasana just yet. And I'm going to move a little bit down the mat to guarantee that I have space. I know that I drifted. On your next inhale, bring your legs up straight up, leading with the toes and your heels, as if you're going to stomp your feet on the ceiling above you. So this is going to involve using all these core muscles in your lower abdomen and in your middle abdomen. Keep your hands in position. You might choose to roll your shoulders back just a little bit to create space for your upper back to draw your shoulders down. Inhale, rise up. And just hold your legs there for a moment. Feeling the strength of all your core muscles working. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, lower them down slowly. Allow them to hover 2 inches above the mat. Inhale, rise up slowly. Exhale, lower them down slowly, hovering over the mat by 2 inches. Inhale, rise them up. Exhale, lower them slowly, hovering 2 inches over the mat. Inhale, rise up your legs. Now we're going to move into shoulder stand. So this might involve kicking them backwards towards your head a little bit. Take a nice inhale. On your exhale, go ahead and kick and then lift up. Using your hands to support you by all the way down by your shoulders. So moving your hands downward, you'll feel them against your ribs. And then go ahead and push your hips slightly forward as your toes are pointed towards the ceiling. Now you can choose to place your hands down, clasp your hands so that you're only on your shoulders. Keep your neck neutral by lifting up your chin. And now on your inhale, lift your feet up. On your exhale, you can lower your legs down so that your feet are behind your head. Lift up your hips to the sky. If you find this variation requires too much flexibility that you don't have, you can place your knees on your forehead. Or you can even just hover them over and work on using your core muscles to lift up your hips and keep your legs parallel to the floor. So many options available. Protect your lower spine. You can always bend your legs to protect your lower spine. Protect your neck again by making sure that your chin is leading and lifting. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, lift up back into shoulder stand. Take a nice inhale, and then on your exhale, place your hands down and lower the body, one vertebrae at a time. Lower your legs all the way down. Take a nice inhale. Bring your hands overhead. And the next move is a Pilates move. Take a nice inhale. And then on your exhale, curl your body up like a letter C, using your core muscles to rise up. Let's move backwards. Inhale our hands up. And then on your exhale, hinge forward at your hips. You can keep your hands high if you want. You can place them down on your shins if you want. But continue to lead with your heart. Lead with your face in your heart, looking forward, looking at your toes. If you can reach your feet, that's okay. I urge you not to compromise your back and your lower spine to go into these forward folds. So always try to keep your back as straight as possible. And when you have achieved laying your torso across your thighs, then perhaps you can drop your chin and drop your chest. It all depends on your anatomy. What I want you to feel is a satisfying stretch all along the back of your hamstrings. So you can always lift up your heart and continue to move the heart forward so that you don't put as much pressure on the lower spine. This is particularly important for people that have sacroiliac joint issues who want to have a nice satisfying stretch of the back of the legs, but have to be careful not to compromise these ligaments that are holding their sacrum in place. Sacroiliac joint pain is no fun. I am no stranger to it. Continue to flex your feet backwards, so it helps to kind of bend your toes back towards you. Take a nice inhale, fully exhale, and then inhale, rise up. Let's bend the right leg and bring our right foot in against the inside of our right thigh. Inhale our hands up. Exhale, forward fold again. This time you might have more reach because you're focusing on one side. Again, keep the same principles that we talked about before. Feel free to lift up if you feel that you are compromising the backs of your hips, your lower back, and your sacroiliac joints. Inhale, rise up. Let's switch sides. Right foot in front, left foot inside of the right thigh. Inhale, rise our hands up. Exhale, folding forward. Reaching for what works for you. For me, I can reach and wrap my hands around my right leg, my right foot rather. But if I couldn't reach, I would just place my hands back here by the top of my calf, or even all the way back here on top of my thigh. The focus again is on stretching out the hamstring, not stretching out the lower back. And for everybody, the degree to which they can bend into these forward folds is different. So I ask you to listen to your own body and know where your own edges are. Inhale, rise up. And let's take one final pose before we begin to head into Shavasana. So placing our feet together, what's commonly called butterfly or Baddha Konasana. So press the soles of your feet together as you sit up nice and tall. And focus your energy on drawing your feet together, which allows the creases of the inside of your hips to begin to open up using your muscle energy. Continue to draw your shoulders back and down so that you have a nice, beautiful lift of your heart. I'm going to show you this from the side. So as you can see, a lot of times people will curl into this, and even that I'm not curling that much, but they'll kind of fold their body in because they want to hold their toes. What I want is for you to sit nice and tall, and if that means holding at the ankles to get that nice, beautiful lift, then please do so. Press your feet together, and when you do that, it allows these creases, using your muscle energy, to start to open up. So there are different ways that we can achieve openness and increase flexibility. One way is to sort of muscle our way into place by just yanking the body. But another way is to use that centralized energy, centralized muscle energy, to draw the energy inward to allow the openness to occur outward. You have two opposing forces going on while you're doing that. Take a nice inhale, and then fully exhale. Release all of that. Let's find our way to Shavasana. Laying down one vertebrae at a time. Before we take our final Shavasana, let's take one final reclined twist. Go ahead and lay your left leg flat on the floor. Grab your right knee and hold it nice and tight against the chest, pulling it as tightly as you can against the chest, holding it here to encourage a release of your hips. And if you want, you can even draw it more towards your right shoulder, pulling it outward and close to the chest, holding it there for quite a long time. Take a nice inhale. And then on your exhale, take your left hand on the outside of your right knee and draw it towards the floor across your body, keeping your right shoulder tucked down to the floor and looking over your right shoulder at your right hand. Take another inhale, and then on your exhale, return back to neutral. Hug that knee one last time and replace it on the floor. Right leg straight out in front. Take your left leg and draw it up to the chest and hold it nice and tight against the chest, moving it towards the left armpit. Take another nice inhale. And then on your exhale, place your right hand on the outside of your left knee and draw it across your body to the right, tucking your left shoulder down to the floor, having a beautiful twist to the left. One more inhale. And then on your exhale, return back. Hug that knee one more time. And return that leg to the floor alongside your right leg. You might have a sensation that your legs actually felt a little longer when you placed them down by doing that hip release. I urge you to find a way to make your body and your upper back more comfortable. So lifting up your hips, wiggling them a little bit, and placing your sacrum in firm contact with the mat is one way. Perhaps rolling your shoulders slightly underneath your torso is another way. Palms facing the ceiling. And let's take a moment to scan the body and begin to prepare for our final resting pose, Shavasana. Starting with the crown of your head, observe if you're holding any tension and release that tension. Take a nice inhale. And then on your exhale, focus on your forehead and your eyes and the bridge of your nose, releasing any tension you might be holding, smoothing out the lines, allowing your eyes to sink deeply into their sockets. Take another inhale. And on your exhale, relax your facial muscles, relax your ears, and draw your attention to your jawline, allowing it to be a little bit slack, releasing any tension you may be holding in your lips and in your mouth. Take a nice inhale. On your exhale, relax your neck, front of the neck, the back of the neck, your shoulders, and your collarbone. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, draw your attention to all of your chest muscles, relaxing them, allowing the chest to broaden as your shoulders fall down to the mat, relaxing your upper arm bones and your forearms. Take a nice inhale, drawing your attention to the middle of your body underneath your ribs, relaxing all of those muscles of the torso. Take a nice inhale. And on your next inhale, relax your hips, relax the upper part of your thighs, and relax your wrists and your hands and your fingers. Take a nice inhale. On your next inhale, relax the skin above the kneecaps, Relax your kneecaps, your shins, and your calves. Finally, take one last inhale and draw your attention to your ankles, to your feet, to the arches of your foot, the tops and your toes. Any remaining energy that you are holding on to can exit out of the ends of the toes and the ends of your fingertips. As you lay here in Shavasana, focus on regulation of the breath. Long, smooth, and even breath. And draw your attention to your senses again. What is your experience through your sight, through your hearing, through your smell, through your taste, and through your sense of touch? Continue to lay here in Shavasana for at least 5 minutes, longer if you prefer. Thank you for taking this time to join me. Thank you for taking this time for your own wellness. Please visit my website, KathleenCoombsYoga.com, and my YouTube channel, Kathleen Coombs Yoga. Please like this video and like my channel. And please subscribe to my channel so that you can get updates of all of my newest videos. The light in me sees the light in you. The yogi in me honors the yogi in you. Namaste.